Okay, this is part one on the on my series of educational reforms and change videos. Um, I want to keep these videos short. I know it's hard being bombarded with information about stuff like this, and you just switch off. So I'm gonna keep them short. I'm gonna keep them like 3-4 minutes long each time. So yeah, in this first one, I really just want to discuss structural issues and issues surrounding conformity in schools. Um, Now, everything I'm talking about is in regards to the UK system and the state system's free schools. Um, the state system we know today was conceived in about the Industrial Revolution in the 70s. What they needed in the 70s, the output required from the educational system, was obedient and hardworking factory line workers. Now, there's no issue with that, and they produced those kind of people perfectly. They did an excellent job at that. But unfortunately, today's job market is very different. However, our educational system hasn't adapted to cater for today's needs. I mean, we're still educating our children and young adults and teenagers on this idea of conformity. For example, it's crazy to suggest that the way that we group our children in schools is on age and gender. It's crazy to think that this has anything to do with educational achievements and academics. I know tons of young kids who at the age of 7, I don't know, might be great at reading but terrible at maths, and their colleagues might be the other way around. But yeah, they group them together and expect them to just push on through their differences. Other things, just like an increase in the importance of standardized testings, uniform policies, just things that are teaching conformity, which are really just a hindrance to what we need in our economic market today. A point related to that, I was reading a Ken Robinson book, and he was talking about a study that IBM had conducted on 1,800 big businesses, companies in Europe and America. Now, the question that IBM posed to these companies, ranging from all fields in industrial, technological, agricultural, loads of different fields, was, what is the biggest issue you face with employing graduates? And now the answer wasn't that they're lazy, hardworking, don't know enough, not intelligent enough. The answer was that they're not having original and creative ideas. They just have no creative drive in them. They don't understand originality and how important it is. And I believe, and I'm sure many agree with me, that this is because the education system that we have today, from a young age, from the age of 5 up until you're 22, drives creativity out of you and drives your originality that you have as a young child. I mean, young children, we can see it from there. There was, I'm drifting from the structural point that I wanted to make, but I just want to quickly make this point about creativity, that creativity and divergence are very similar. The idea that you can see one object and have many different purposes for it. Imagine so many different uses for this. Now, this test was done on young children at the age of 5. And it was a longitudinal study. They stayed with them. So at the age of 5, these children were given an object, a paperclip, and said, how many things can you think of to do with this paperclip? How many reasons? What things can it do? And the children scored off the charts. They were in the genius levels of this divergence and ultimately creativity. Now, they followed these kids throughout their years at school up until the age of 18, sorry. And what they found was every 3 years that they tested them, their scores dropped by at least 20% each time. And by the time they were 18 years old, they were at the bottom. They had nothing. And I think this really does prove that throughout the system, education is draining people with creativity and originality. And this isn't just some off-the-cuff hippie mark. This is a real issue for our economic situation. I mean, if this is what the job market is looking for, our education system is not providing for it. And this is something that we need to address urgently. And just my last point, because I know it's getting long, this needs to come from the ground up. This needs to come from us, students, and we need to start demanding change and letting everyone know that it's not working, because too often we're having policies coming from ministers to local, to LEAs, to headmasters, and then to us and to teachers, and it's just not working. We need to demand a change and a reform, and this has to come from the ground up. In the next video, I'm going to be going over actually some of the changes I think we should implement instead of just criticizing it. I know anyone can do that. So I'm going to be starting to talk about some of the changes that we can that we can make. And just a little side note, I just want to know that this isn't an attack on teachers or the teaching profession. Quite the opposite. I admire teachers. I want to be a teacher. I just wanted to let them know that this isn't just an attack on teachers. I think teachers don't really have a part to blame in this whole education fiasco. But yeah, so yeah, next video I'll be talking about some of the changes that we can make and try and progress this system.